I'm John Gibbons. I'm joined by Gareth Roberts. And, well, a lot happened over the weekend. Quite a few people have lost their heads over Liverpool and things like that. But I wanted to talk to you, Gareth, about a talking point I saw come out of it, which is obviously Liverpool's defenders. Conceded 3 goals against Swansea isn't good enough. And I noticed you getting into it a little bit over Facebook over the weekend. And there was a couple of articles knocking around about the Sakho things reared its head again a little bit. People talking about, are we better off, you know, playing him? Have we got to the point where you're thinking, well, he's maybe better than what we're using at the moment? So I thought it'd be interesting just to have a bit of a chat with it, because I know we've sort of got naturally different opinions on it now. I was more with you, I'll just say, as a bit of a thing, but I'm starting to think that we should be using them by now, and they should have found a way. But I know you think slightly differently, so I'll let you go first.
All right. So to me, I can't believe it's actually a debate at this point. Jürgen Klopp's massive on team spirit, on a group all working together and being on the same page, and so he's therefore got to be seen as the leader of this group as being a disciplinarian, and anyone who sort of is stepping out of line on a number of occasions, which is what Sakho's done, then, you know, he's used up his lives. He's gone. He's out of the club, and the only reason he's still here is that there's no one stepped in yet. And that's almost another argument for me as well. If he's so good, which people keep telling me that he is, despite, you know, up and down performances in a red shirt, if he's so good, why are people not queuing up to buy him? They're not queuing up to buy him because they've heard about the problems. I mean, let's not underestimate or overstate, or whatever the word is, because it's early on a Monday morning here. But he took a drug without the club's knowledge. The club is his employer, and he is an athlete, and he took something without having a chat with the club, and he therefore ended up missing games. Now, we know how it all went. He didn't end up getting banned or anything else, but he was taken out of the firing line because the club didn't know what was going to happen. That was at a crucial stage of the season. He let the club down absolutely big time. Then, and people over the weekend, like, you know, John mentioned there was a debate on Facebook about it. There was, and someone said, you know, well, you do not believe in a second chance. Well, I do believe in a second chance, and I think the second chance was when he goes on the tour. He goes on the tour to America with Liverpool. That's your second chance. He's kicking round, he's with the squad. It's up to him then to impress, to say, yeah, indiscretion, but now I'm on board with what you're saying. I'm going to listen to you, I'm going to follow your plans, I'm going to be part of the squad. But he doesn't do that. He's late over and over again. Klopp sends him home from America because he's had enough. Then when he's frozen out, he's going on social media having rants, calling people liars. That's not the way to get back in. And then also there's plenty of anecdotal evidence, again, if that's the right word, that he's struggled with his weight, he's struggled with, he's not eating anything, he's not being professional, and all of those things that I've just talked about suggest to me a fella who isn't particularly professional. And you know, go back to what I said before, everything that Klopp does is about everyone putting the maximum in. We know that we can't go out and buy the very best players because we haven't got as much money as everyone else. And so the way to get around that's a team spirit. The way to get around that is squeezing everything you've got out of the squad. And this fella's proved that he can't get on board with that. To me, he's a selfish fella. He's done things that are about him and not about the team. And that's why he's been bombed out. And that's why you won't see him again in a red shirt. And that's why when a club eventually comes knocking who wants him, he'll go. But so far, all we've had is a loan offer from I think, Southampton. And so, you know, again, the big clubs around Europe aren't queuing up to sign Mamadou Sakho. And if you want to look up as well, it's not the first time he's had trouble with managers either. He had trouble at PSG with his managers there. So, you know, he might be a fella that does funny stuff on social media and all the rest of it, and he might seem like quite a cool fella. But I'm more interested in a fella who can solidly play at centre-half week in, week out and be trusted. And I think this fella's shown he can be.
I think a lot of what he said's fair enough. I was mostly of the opinion of forget about him, you know, for the reasons that you've just said. But it sort of brought it home at the weekend for me with the Costa situation. Last week, Costa's having blazing rows in training and things like that. He wants to go to China. The manager drops him. He's having an argument with the training that he's saying he's faking an injury and all this. It doesn't look great for him at all, at Costa. So last week he's out the team and everyone, you know, Liverpool fans are rubbing their hands saying, oh, this should be good. They well their season. They sort it out. He's in the team this week and he's scoring. Now, no one can tell me that Conte is any less a believer in discipline and things like that than Klopp is. And I'm sure he believes in the group and things like that. But And I'm sure he's fuming with Costa, and I'm sure this isn't the end of it. Everyone's saying, oh, it's done now. I'm sure it's not done. They've either done some agreement where he can leave in the summer, or Costa's think, or you know, the manager's thinking, I'll just use him. I need him for this year, and if we win the league, I can get rid of him and get someone else in that. I'm in a better position. I think the manager has chosen to make a decision based on what's good for Chelsea now. And I think, looking at our defence at the weekend, I don't think Sakho's this amazing defender. I know what you're saying. You know, the people aren't queuing up for him, and that's right. But I think he looks a better option to me than Clavin in terms of what we've seen in the past. And I think after, at his best, yeah.
Not when he's overweight and out of form, and not even looking that good for the under 23s.
But yeah, but the 23s, what I would say is, you know, he hasn't torn up trees there, but apparently his attitude's been spot on. You're talking about professionalism and things like that, but everyone who you speak to in terms of the players at that level, in terms of the managers, you know, we have Michael Beale in on the Anfield Wrap talking, just saying he was absolutely spot on. You know, you couldn't have asked for any more. And he said, oh, you know, I wouldn't have picked him if his attitude wasn't right. I wouldn't have allowed him, you know, to be around the young lads and things like that. And so generally he's just a massive contradictions, isn't he, Sakho, you know, in terms of his attitude and things like that. I'm not saying get him back in, get him starting when everyone's fit. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, should there be, it's probably too late now. Look, it's probably that ship's probably sailed, but I'm thinking, was there a way when he didn't go in September to start thinking about being practical and being pragmatic and thinking, well, as you say, we haven't got all the money in the world, you know, we can't necessarily go and, you know, spend millions of pounds and say, oh, we'll leave someone. But and if you've got a £20 million asset, then find a way to use him, and then maybe it'll be easy to sell him if he's playing all right and he's in around the first team. I think we've dug ourselves a bit of a hole on the selling thing, really. And so in terms of selling him when you want to, but just more in terms of getting the most out of the Liverpool squad this season. I'm looking at the Costa thing, and another example is Icardi at Inter Milan. You know, in October he brought this book out slagging the fans off. The fans are all draping big banners saying they want him out and stuff like that, and you're thinking, bloody hell, he's club captain and it looks like he's going to go here. The club are fuming with him. They make him take the chapter out the book. They fine him. But his record since then has been absolutely phenomenal. You know, he seems to be scoring 2 every week. I looked up before, he's got 15 and 20, but most of them have been in the last 10 games. And so they found a way to use him, and they found a way to rehabilitate them. And it's not all gone away. I'm sure there's fans who still grumble with him. I'm sure the manager isn't still happy with him, but it's using what you've got. And I just wonder whether we could have done without Sakho and then maybe said goodbye in the summer when we're in a better position to replace him.
I just think about the dynamic behind the scenes all the time. I mean, I understand your argument. I get why you're saying, you know, maybe you can treat him as an asset and maybe you can, you know, keep him in and around the team. But I just think you really spoil that dynamic. Like, what does it say? If you take the analogy of what it's like in a normal workplace for something, as an example. So, say you're working with someone and this person you're working with is essentially taking the piss over on a series of occasions out of your boss. And you know that if you step out of line, you're going to get a ton of bricks on you and you're not going to be in that side. And yet this fella stepped out of line on a number of occasions and then he's still in the side again. So that's why it's happened for me. Klopp's made a statement with him. And I actually think that, you know, you've probably seen this with a couple of other players as well. I mean, nothing's ever really come out with it, and I think it's, so for that reason, think it's slightly suspicious. But I think I've had a little bit of an attitude problem as well, and I think that's why he got bombed out. I think there was potentially a player there that you could have developed, that you could have worked with, but something went on, and it didn't really come out too much about what it was. But do you remember he got sent off for the under-21s for England and stuff like that? And then there was a weird time where all of a sudden all of his social media accounts went black. Like he just put a black square up as the thing. He took every reference to Liverpool off, and I just thought, you can read too much into these things, obviously, but I just thought that feels like he's had a row there. Something's happened, and then you know, not long after he bombed out. So I think Klopp's huge on you being on board with him, and he rewards when you're on board with him. You look at how he's rehabilitated some players and used some players differently. Adam Lallana, a prime example. I think if you do what he wants you to do, then he will embrace you with open arms. If you don't, he'll push it away. He'll get rid of you. I don't think he's got any time to be rehabilitating people. I mean, you look at how he treated Balotelli as well. You know, he talked about Balotelli in the past and said, I wouldn't have someone like that at my club. When it came to that opportunity, Balotelli apparently did work and had a bit of a go. But Klopp was having none. You've seen his track record and he's just gone, I don't want this fella around the place spoiling the vibe. And I think the same applies to Sakho.
I think there's ways of showing you're a disciplinarian and ways of punishing people without it necessarily being forever. And you look at what Man City did with Yaya Toure. You know, he was completely frozen out, and he basically said, "You're not playing for me again until you apologise and your agent apologises." And Yaya Toure, you know, was frozen out for a couple of months, and then he's done it. And there's no doubts whatsoever who's in control of that situation. It's Guardiola, and Guardiola's basically made him go begging for his place back. Now he's in there and he's scoring goals for Man City, and he's a useful addition for them. I don't think you have to completely freeze someone out to show that you're the strong individual and show what's right. And then, yeah, if he messes up again, then he's in bothered again and things like that. And let's face it, he probably would. But I think, you know, I don't think necessarily, you know, I don't think these other managers like Guardiola and Conte are like kind of just letting people do whatever they want. They're still strong managers and they're still showing discipline in these situations. They're just, you know, allowing a way back. And it's you know, it's allowing a way back for the short term. It's allowing a way back thinking, I could just deal with this fella now. You know what I mean? I've got no doubt that, as I say, that the Costa thing isn't dead and buried. You know, I think there's more things that may happen with Yaya Toure. I think he'll probably go in the summer, but I think it's maybe managers being a little bit more pragmatic than Klopp has been in the situation.
I just think there's probably been conversations behind the scenes. Let's be honest, and what Sakho done, you know, since he did wrong the club. You know, he comes out and has a social media rant calling people liars. That's not the way forward, is it? I mean, if he wants to genuinely be considered a Liverpool first team player again, then where's the interview where he comes out and says sorry to everyone? Yeah. Where's the interview where he comes out and says, I was unprofessional, I let people down, I realised I've made a mistake and I'm now going to work my arse off to get back in that Liverpool side? He hasn't said a thing. All he's done is come out and slag the club off and lashed a few mad videos up of him training, which don't prove anything. Of course you're training, you're a footballer, you're an athlete, or you're supposed to be. So I wouldn't expect anything less than that. You're training, so a video of you doing shuttle runs, sound. That doesn't mean you should be in the first team in my book. So I think to pin it on Klopp, which a lot of people have seen doing, and that's why I took issue with some people on Facebook. To me, Klopp's doing the right thing. He's being a leader. I wanted a leader at this club. I wanted someone who could come in, take it by the scruff of the neck and say, right, I'm in charge here. I'm in charge of everything, and you're doing things my way. That's what Klopp's done, and that's what we needed in my book. There was too many cooks previously. Don't think Rodgers had the balls to manage the club, to be honest, to take on everyone up and down. I think Klopp has. You know, Klopp's got balls, and he's made the decision. And he's not coming back. I think in his own head now, he would think it'd be weak of me now to throw this fella back in. And also as well, you throw him back in now. What does that say to Klavan? What does it say to Gomez? It's like, oh, hang on, you know, this fella's done all that. He's been playing crap, and then you throw him in just because, you know, you've thrown the baby out with the bathwater basically because of one bad result against Swansea. So it's big nah for me. Sell him, get him out of the club, move on. We could do with more players in that position. Sakho, not for me.
Let us know what you think in the comments below on YouTube, if you're on YouTube, or the comments in the Facebook. Gareth mentioned arguing on Facebook over there. We've got a new group for the Anfield app subscribers. So for those who don't know, it's £5 a month to subscribe to the Anfield app. Get as many podcasts as you can listen to in a day. We put a lot out, 30 plus out every month. And we've got a little Facebook group now just for subscribers. Some great discussion going on in there, including Gareth arguing with people about Sakho. So get on that. It's a bit of an extra bonus for your £5. But if you are paying it and you're not on there and you haven't seen your invite, just give us a little tweet or something, and we'll make sure you can get on there. Really exciting week for tour players. Speaking of which, loads happening. We've got Paco Ayestroan coming in today. He's doing a couple of shows. He's doing the Tuesday review with Sean Rodgers, which is going to be brilliant. The Tuesday reviews are a bit more in-depth tactical look at what's been going on over the last game. So we'll be looking at the Swansea game, dissecting that with Sean Rodgers, who's obviously really intelligent, FA badges and all that himself, and Paco Ayestroan, who's managed at the highest level. So that's going to be really good. He's doing a couple of other things with Andy as well, which will be out over the next couple of weeks. Then all the normal stuff. We've got a gutter show today about all the transfer gossip and just generally a lot of shows going out this week.
Yeah, there's another one later on in the week as well. We'll be recording a new Pro View. We've previously had these Pro Views out there with Neil Mellor. We're going to start doing Pro View shows now with Stephen Warnock. We did a cup of tea show with him last week. Had a chat about sort of how it feels to be a young player out in the cold, suddenly thrown into FA Cup games, League Cup games, that sort of thing. He spoke about his experiences there, revealed some interesting stuff about his relationship with Rafa Benitez as well. And he really enjoyed himself, so, you know, we had a chat afterwards and he said, I'm up for doing more shows. He should be doing one later this week. We'll have to go and have a think about what we're talking about. We haven't done all the admin around that yet, but Stephen was great value. He's not one to be shy of his opinion, and we think he adds something to everything else we're doing around the Anfield app and tour play.
Yeah, so there you are, £5 a month, you're getting loads and loads of content. So yeah, get on it, give us a go. If you don't like it, you can always swerve it, but not many people do. Cheers, nice one, Gareth. And as I say, let us know what you think of it, who you agree with. Hashtag Baba, hashtag him. No, don't do that. Cheers, nice one.